Tim, thank you so much for joining us here today. Could you tell our viewers a bit more about yourself and your role at Sharegain?
Yeah, I'm the head of demand generation at Sharegain, which means I manage all the relationships on the trading side with our counterparties at prime brokerage banks.
Tim, what are the biggest frustrations impacting borrowers today?
The borrowers that we deal with, I hear it time and time again, they simply have no idea what true availability is in any given security from their counterparties. Yeah, I know. I see the look on your face.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, in the 21st century, they are flying blind. They have an update once a day or twice a day, and they can see some shares, but it's not real time. And oftentimes they're left transacting and only to discover, oh, actually, those shares aren't there. I know. It's simply the technology is not caught up with providing real-time availability. This is one of the things that Sharegain has been absolutely the market leader on. Our counterparties are able to access, via their dashboard, real-time on-screen availability. As soon as they book a trade, that is decremented across the entire stack. Every other counterparty in the street sees the number change. So, well, maybe they didn't get the trade if they weren't fast enough, but at least they know it's not there. And yeah, it's absolutely shocking for me to have discovered this, that sometimes availability on screen at a prime broker, global prime, can be days old. Forget about minutes old or hours old. This is really, really, really backwards. And this is one of the things that we've led on. And, you know, I think that the other thing that's truly transformative is this isn't a pay-to-play access, right? We have a platform that gives our counterparties free access to understand what is there for them. And they can transact on it without a per transaction fee or pay to subscribe to access this real-time availability.
Now, when it comes to one of the huge benefits behind Sharegain's system is the fact that you open up that inventory, you've increased the visibility. Suddenly these prime brokers have far more options to really work with. How do you ensure that they get the best use out of that market availability?
That's right. It's a great question. Our counterparties have multiple ways to access the information about that supply and to transact it. There are traditional pathways, but then there are also more automated type pathways via our dashboard. As they see and understand that, they can submit bids for the securities they're interested in. They can request different types of transactions. All of this is available to them via the system.
Right, Tim, tell me a bit more about the borrower dashboard.
Right. Well, we're really proud of the borrower dashboard. It's an incredible and market-leading way for our counterparties, the prime brokers, to get access to the supply. As I mentioned before, this is real-time availability. It's instantaneous, on-screen, and decremented as transactions happen. So as availability drops or rises because of new buys or sells from our clients, it will show up right on screen. A trader can click on it, one click, it's done. Trade's done, availability is decremented, no one else is getting that supply. This is really very unique in the market. Oftentimes, traders are seeing supply on screens, their automated systems show that there are shares available, but then by the time they find out an hour later, actually, it's not there.
I mean, the thought of leaving money on the table or not even being aware that your lender has recalled all of those securities must be absolutely frustrating. So with that in mind, I've got to ask, why isn't this an industry standard? I'm not saying it's not an incredible piece of technology, but it baffles me that Sharegain is leading the way in such a pioneering space.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very fair question. I think that the enormous growth in the retail use of securities, the retail broker, the common person on the street owning a significant portfolio of stocks and shares means that the big players haven't necessarily caught up with the idea about how fast positions can change. and that you may be aggregating and adjusting for millions and millions of individual retail clients buying and selling in real time. That can be a real challenge. You have to invest, you have to scale, you have to figure out the right substitution methodology. And this is exactly what we've done over the years. So yes, it is not industry standard yet, but we are leading the way because we started with this end in mind. So I'll give you an example. We've got retail aggregator clients who have millions of sub-clients buying and selling sometimes multiple times a day. Our algorithm in the background is substituting so that a borrower never even sees these transactions happening. They have a loan, it remains active, whereas other places may have to recall based on those sales. We're able to substitute without any other further activity, without even notifying the borrower that this has changed.
How does Sharegain ensure that your clients benefit from that increased market demand?
So we've developed a lot of internal systems to help identify trends in securities lending, not only what activity is happening now and where demand is, but what trends are happening in the broader market that will identify the types or even specific securities that are going to be demand in the near future. So this enables us to be ahead of the market, to really connect with traders and help almost complete their sentences for them, right? To give them a leg up, to give them, in a way, a kind of market intelligence on its own. I like to go back to a story after we implemented one of these algorithms where a trader at quite a large prime broker pushed back to me after we sent him an email notifying him of availability of a specific security. He said to me, "Hey, this is a great idea, but I've got plenty of this." And the next morning, first thing, just after 7, this individual went into the platform and took our entire supply in it. Why? Because by that time, the next day, there'd been so much demand that he'd used his entire inventory and he needed more. I'm really proud of that story. It is a case study in the kind of information that we help provide, not just our own clients about what is going out in the market and what will be going out in the market, but in fact, we get the attention of the prime brokers to pay attention to what our algo's doing and the kind of information it provides them.
With that scale comes its own challenges. How can Sharegain offer up this inventory, but also effectively ensure that your clients are able to see that demand and actually be able to kind of act on this inventory?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things we've discovered along the way is that the true power in unlocking your clients' lending programs is being able to target the clients, the securities, and the trading patterns that are the most desired by the prime brokers. So we manage those relationships with tier 1 prime brokers. They are the first line that is dealing with the biggest, most important users of those securities. And they are willing, in fact, through the borrower dashboard, they have an ability to not only send a signal of what they want to borrow today, but of the hundreds of names that they're monitoring quite specifically. By using that data, by using what that trust-based relationship we have with the primes provides us, which is insight into what is needed, the scale it's needed in, and what is going to be needed in the near future, it enables us to reach back, right back to our clients, all the way through to individual retail investors and notify them, hey, you haven't opted into your securities lending program, but the securities you hold are attractive and valuable.
But it goes beyond that, doesn't it? It's almost like, I want to say an element of a kind of a dating app almost, where you can actually put the network to use to actually find the right lender for the right borrower as well, to ensure that not only is the borrowing going to be effective, but also safe, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, for us, what we've built in the past 10 years is a strong network of trust-based relationships with the biggest global prime brokers. And doing so, it enables us to bring unique supply clients who maybe otherwise wouldn't have access to these kinds of banks or these kinds of borrowers. Our credibility, our all-in lending and trading solution, it pulls everything together for them. And when Sharegain says this client matters, they know they can get it done.
Incredible. So it also reduces risks as well, right?
That's right. I mean, there are hundreds of banks and broker dealers who may be involved in, borrowing securities and lending them on. But ultimately, these end up being used. The end users are contracted with probably the 8 biggest banks in the world for this in the prime brokerage space. This is the end destination. If you want to have relationships with the highest quality financial institutions, it's these 8 banks as well. And these banks are also the ones which are willing to pay the most appropriate lending rate, have the highest degree of transparency on what the market is doing and where the lending rate is, and therefore to able to transact without any further frictions.
Now, when we talk about friction, one of the biggest operational headaches is transferring or changing a program. But what happens if I've already got a securities lending program in place? What role can Sharegain play there?
Well, if the client is already in a position where they're participating in some level in the securities lending market, Sharegain can just offer a higher degree of access and a higher degree of credibility. We have lots of clients that fall into the same category as any given lender. Obviously with a focus on retail aggregators and wealth management platforms, we have massive credibility in the street that these clients are exactly the ones that we bring. So to be able to consolidate one's program with others will enable you the kind of leverage that gets you access to the bigger market.
Incredible. And from an operational standpoint as well, I imagine it means that maybe some of the institutions that maybe have slightly over-invested and maybe kind of, headcount and so forth, it might actually enable them to be a bit more agile going forward too?
I think that's right. And there are definitely a lot of frictions and costs associated with doing this. There's time spent. There are plenty of operational frictions for non-scaled technological solutions. But the one that we have with integration, even into somebody who's already got a lending program, will, in fact, in most cases, the clients that we have brought on our own have been ones that are not in lending programs already. So we've had to solve a lot of technological and system problems for them. Whereas if you're already in a lending program, your time to market via Sharegain is going to be dramatically faster.
Amazing. Now, one thing we love to do in the industry, especially when it looks at financial services, is reduce the risks and the headaches for the C-suite, or at least the decision makers. How can Sharegain do that?
Well, I think you touched on it before about the risks. The risks, first and foremost, are operational and counterparty related. Sharegain's relationships with the top tier primes mean you are exposed only to the best types of institutions. There are no bucket shops on our counterparty list. I think also the risk, if you think about it in this way, is the risk that you'll be off market. The risk that because you've got a narrow pathway, maybe via one or two small brokers who are acting as intermediaries to the end user, you're going to be paying a cost on that friction because everyone gets paid along that chain. Whereas if you're facing directly into the demand signal, we're able to price your securities and lend them at a more appropriate rate for what the market is doing on a given day.
Finance is obviously all about finding opportunities and also reducing risk at the same time. How can Sharegain enable your counterparties to ultimately find that win-win scenario?
Yeah, well, that's absolutely spot on. This is what it's about. For our clients, from their side, it's about interacting with top-tier prime brokers.
Right.
These are the most creditworthy, most stable financial institutions in the world. And ultimately, these are the main users of lent securities. So being able to match off our clients with their unique needs, their unique structures, their unique inventory with the prime brokers who are world-class and have the specific need that they have, which matches off with our client lenders, really, that creates a great scenario. Like, that's what we deliver for our clients and our counterparties. Sharegain benefits from that, that trust and confidence that we built over the years. Really, the work we do to make that happen is more like a win-win-win for everyone concerned.
Now, I'm really curious. Some of these institutions and counterparties have already built out lending programs. Why would they go, or at least start working with Sharegain now?
So I think the smaller institutions that might have their own programs are almost certainly struggling to get access to the top tier primes.
Right.
So Sharegain has already built a massive network of the main end users of stock loan. So therefore, bringing small institutions is what we do. And they have the ability to cut through the challenges that these prime brokers may face with facing off against a smaller institution. Conversely, large institutions who may have been in securities lending for a long time have a variety of legacy systems and operational processes that are constantly in need of updating, extra focus and effort just to keep it relevant. Meanwhile, Sharegain can simply step in and come in with a tech solution that is scalable, meets the modern needs of that large lender, and grow with it as the market changes. I mean, we already touched on the ability to provide real-time awareness of availability. This is exactly the kind of thing that we can bring to a large lender with legacy systems.
Now, C-suites already have enough on their plates at the moment, but what risks do you reduce from them day one?
So I think the strength of our operational processes, what our tech is able to streamline, to reduce overheads and eliminate risks of settlement fails. There's a whole variety of elements that are day-to-day grind issues associated with securities lending that Sharegain, with its technological solution, is able to provide at scale and to take those worries about the stock loan process off the minds of the C-suite. I think it's also important to note that even though in the early days, some people dismissed Sharegain, considered what we were doing to be superfluous, I think what we did is we didn't believe them. We knew there was a business here. We knew there was a need. We knew there was an addressable market, and that market has continued to grow. So we defied expectations, and in doing so, we built our credibility with the market. We are the retail-facing stock loan expert, hands down.
It feels like the industry itself has changed massively, and yet the major players haven't changed one bit. What needs to change, and needs to change soon?
Well, that's right. It definitely needs to change. We need more access to the market from the retail world. This is what we've done. We've built a scalable solution that can provide that access to retail securities lending clients. And we've also provided solutions. We have driven and been in the vanguard of regulatory reform in a lot of jurisdictions where clients were disadvantaged, where clients didn't have market access. And we've been part of that solution, which is why we've built trust and credibility in the retail client sector.